The tax rules for corporate guys is less than employees. Employees pay the highest taxes.
Yeah.
Guys like Trump and me pay zero.
And people are angry
Legally.
at that, which is very interesting. People are very angry at people that don't pay taxes, which is, again, a proof that people cannot wrap their heads around that.
Because they've been hypnotized. Go to school, get a job.
You know, and so that's where people are. And so,
what were the charges on which you're convicted?
willful failure to file. I did not file tax returns. I stopped filing tax returns when I found out. So willful failure to file is a misdemeanor, right? So I wasn't indicted. When you indict somebody, that's a felony, but it's called an information. So they filled out an information. They charged me with willful failure to file for 4 years. And guess what they did? They gave me a 4-year sentence instead of doing it concurrent. A misdemeanor, the definition of misdemeanor is jail for 1 year or less. But they gave me a 4-year sentence on a misdemeanor charge. Sure did. Yeah.
So there, as far as you're aware, there's no law requiring you to
I haven't
file.
found it.
However, there's a law for failure to file.
Well, no, it's some regulations that they put together. In other words, what they did was, I don't want to call it ingenious, but all of those codes and regulations all mixed together, they made penalties for failure to file, but you have to be required to file. Some people are required to file, depending on what kind of income you have, but most people that live and work in the 50 states are not in that.
So who's required to file?
Foreign corporations, Americans that are living abroad, and for the privilege, other people that come in here for the privilege of being able to work in the United States. So, for example, we get all this junk from China. China is supposed to be paying us a ton of money, like an excise tax for sending all that stuff over here. But somewhere along the line with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky and the blue dress or whatever, China got most favored nation status. So all of the tax that all these other countries and some of the foreign corporations are supposed to be paying has been laid on the middle class. Now, wealthy people they don't pay a lot of tax because they have all these loopholes that the poor people don't have. And they have the loopholes because the people that write these little codes and stuff give them loopholes. So the tax code as it's written is made for businesses. But all of us that work every day, we are expending our life energy every day in exchange for resources so that we can live. And that's an even exchange, no matter how you look at it. So even if you believe that there's a law, it's not moral because it's slavery. And what I always say is, if you are taking someone's labor at 100% and you are exploiting their labor and it's slavery, at what percentage is it not slavery?
I've heard sometimes people change the acronym to "it's really stealing." But
Right.
I guess your point is it's really slavery.
It is. Think about how slavery is. You know, you go over there and work, and you know, I'll give you a little food and water, and then you work every day. Well, what's the difference? I mean, most of the people that are in the grind, they're just surviving. We're sick of just surviving. We want to thrive too.
But you basically teach people now how to break free from this slavery.
Right. So 95 to 99% of the people are not going to stand up and try to cut the head off the beast like I did. And I don't recommend that because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through at the hands of the beast. But what I do now is help people starve the beast. So most people are going to say, okay, I believe you and all that, but I'm too scared not to file because I don't want to go to jail and I don't want to take my stuff. So there are ways that you can work within the system and not have a risk of going to jail, but still keep more of what you earn. And that's what I teach people.
And you want to give a couple examples?
Well, an example of that is, you got a job and you want to make sure that I just got an email this morning from somebody that said they made $38,000. They took $10,000 out, and the IRS on this 2019 tax return is still saying they owe $800 more. So this person made with $38,000 and is supposedly owing $10,800. That's just crazy. It's just crazy. So what you do is you can start a home-based business. Remember I said that they have the tax code all, whatever it is, and it's for businesses. So if you start a business, then you can deduct things that you already do, like your cell phone. That's a deduction. Your internet, all these things that normally that you're paying for, they can become business deductions, and that's what businesses do. Do you know a lot of corporations like Netflix and all these people, they don't pay taxes because they have all these deductions, and a lot of wealthy people have all these loopholes and deductions. Well, the American people need to learn these things and not just stay focused on having a job, which is okay, but do something different. When you come home, don't turn on the electronic income reducer called the TV. Don't turn it on. Decompress, eat your dinner, spend some time with your family, and then do a business. You can make money and you have all these deductions, and that's basically one of the biggest things that people can do to help themselves get out of the rat race.
What about going overseas or offshore, as some people like to say?
That's something for people who have gotten a little bit further on. You know, after you're beginning and after you're making money in your business, then yeah, you can start corporations abroad and you can start businesses abroad and making sure that that money is overseas. And there's a lot of things you can do. But for the beginner, just go ahead and get your home-based business.
So the question is, how do the rich not pay taxes? Okay. It's a multi-step process. Let's start with this one first, keep it small. Is here you go to school, get a job, you become an employee, but you learn nothing about taxes. Then you become a little entrepreneur, you start your little falafel shop business or whatever you start, right? So that self-employed, small business. And then you have big business, 500 employees or more, or I for investor. So Tom, how much tax do employees pay?
Well, typically if they're making a good salary, and this is, by the way, the same rates around the world, typically it's going to be about 40%.
40%. And after the Trump tax cut, did that change much?
Not much. It didn't.
So if you're I'm going to start my own little business, I'm going to, start my little pizza shop or my coffee shop, how much do these guys pay?
Well, now it goes up because you're paying both your share of the taxes plus the employer's share of the taxes because you've got both sides. So now it goes up as high as 60%.
So when you hear a young person, an old guy like me, say, I'm going to start my own business, they don't know anything about taxes, do they?
No, and in fact, this is the place where people get in trouble because over here, the money's being taken out of your paycheck. But here, you're responsible for your taxes, and so what happens is that you go, let's say you're successful with your pizza shop, right? All of a sudden, tax time comes around, oh no, I've spent all my money and I don't have money to pay the taxes. And people go out of business real fast here.
Well, it is surprising because a lot of the millennials do want to start up their own small little business, right? And what they're not aware of is that they're going to be in the 60% tax bracket.
Because taxes are your single largest expense. So if you're going to start your own business, you got to be aware of taxes here. Mm-hmm. Now, big business, as 500 employees or more, how much do they pay?
Typically around the world, about 20%.
Now, why is it that big business people pay less than small business?
Well, basically, the government wants us to do certain things, and they'll give us incentives if we do them. And what they want out of a big business is they want employment. So they want to create employment because that creates stability in the country.
Jobs,
right? And so the more jobs you create, actually the more tax benefit you get.
Well, look at Amazon right now. They're looking at moving their company. How many tax benefits are they getting?
Oh my heavens, they pay very, very little tax. Amazon does, and they pay, you talk about all those different kinds of taxes. Not only do they pay very little income tax, but they're also paying very little sales tax and employment taxes and all those others because they're getting benefits from multiple types of government, the federal government, the state government, the city government.
Is that how Elon Musk started his battery?
One of the things that I've been teaching about for a very long time is starting your own home-based business. What I say in general is when you start a home-based business, you can write off everything but the kitchen sink. And that's just, keeping it mild. There's a lot to go behind that. But when Hillary Clinton during the election told everybody that Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes, all the wind got sucked out of the room and everybody was talking about it and it was all a buzz. This man doesn't pay his taxes. Well, he said something to the effect that he was a smart man. I didn't see it, but I heard about it and I looked a little bit on the internet. He is a smart man. because he understands businesses, he understands business law, and he understands the tax code as they perceive it. So he's been able to take what's called a net operating loss and carry it back at least 18 years, and you can carry it forward 2 years. So even if his company's made a profit, he was able to go back and get that money back because of the net operating losses. Now, you can start a corporation, and there's a lot to that, and I don't have a problem with that. But for most people, it's easier to start a home-based business. It doesn't take much to start a home-based business. It takes less than $1,000. Some people even say it takes $39. But what it takes is your commitment to take the time to do the business. You can't come home from work and turn on the electronic income reducer. Most of you all know I call that the TV. And sit there and let the news watch you, and you take in all that murder and rape and all that other stuff all day and be depressed. You have to come home, decompress for maybe an hour, and get started on your home-based business. Now, you all know what happened to me. I used to be a six-figure person a long time ago. When I started talking about the IRS and the income tax, they locked me up. And when I got out of prison in 2011, I was flat broke. There's a video out there somewhere about flat broke former IRS agent. But here we are in 2017, and I'm back to six figures again. And the reason for that is because I put in place the things that I learned from my wealthy friends. So no more being complacent, no more being apathetic. I made a commitment, and it took a lot of tears, a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours. But I don't want to be complaining about the way my life is going when I'm not doing anything about it. One of the things my parents taught me when I was younger, they didn't let us complain. They said, if you don't like where you are at point A, go to point B. So I'm going to point C and D and E next.